guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. Today is going to be a longer episode. We're going to be ceramic coating my wheels and my brake calipers, as well as cleaning up the brakes, removing some of the rust, putting some anti-seize and anti-rust lubricant on them, as well as installing the stud conversion kit on my M2. So this is the same stud conversion kit that I did on my E90 M3, however I bought another set for the M2. So there's gonna be a lot of stuff to cover in this video, you guys. I'm gonna link everything that I use down in the description for you because there's gonna be a lot of different stuff, a lot of different items that I'm using off of Amazon, Keys Motorsports, and if you guys need any of it, hopefully this video will help you out and make the job easier for you if you are trying to do any of these things. So as you guys already know, I like to ceramic coat as much of my car as possible, including the wheels and calipers. This car has already been ceramic coated, however, we haven't done the wheels and we haven't done the calipers. I figured I would wait and just make an entire tutorial video on that when I actually went in and did the stud conversion kit, because that obviously made the most sense while we have the wheels off and everything. So in a lot of the videos that I make, you guys see that I use 9H Ceramic Pro for ceramic coating. However, I wanted to use something that we could all get our hands on. Ceramic Pro is unfortunately a product that is only for dealers at the moment, and it's also very, very expensive. I recently came across C-Quartz and the reviews have been really, really good. So I wanted to try out their product and show you guys how to apply it to the actual wheels. Now this specific ceramic coating is made for wheels and calipers. So it's a much stronger ceramic coating, whereas the stuff that goes on your paint is a little bit different. Quartz does also make a ceramic coating for paint, and I'll link that down below for you guys. But today we're gonna be focusing on this. Here is kind of a brief overview of everything that we're gonna be using. To put the stud conversion kit on, you're gonna want a 5mm Allen. This is obviously to take the wheels off. Here are the actual studs that I ordered from Keys Motorsports. I went with the black, same setup that I did on the BMW M3. And then obviously the studs are black as well. I went 78mm, which sits really flush. If you guys are running spacers or you just need longer ones, go ahead and order obviously a longer setup. This is blue thread locker. That's what I use on the actual studs when I install them. We're gonna be torquing the studs down to 25 foot-pounds of torque. Obviously some gloves. It's gonna be a dirty and messy job. There's a lot of rust that we're cleaning up. This is a wire brush adapter for my drill so we can clean out the rust in the center of the brake. Then I also have some wire brushes here in case I want to like fine tune anything. Now I live in an apartment complex, so we don't really have hoses here. The only way to wash the wheels, clean the wheels before I ceramic coat them is using something like this that just uses pressure as you pump it, and then you can spray out the water. In addition to that, we have a bunch of different rags here. Anytime you guys are using ceramic coating, the rags that you actually apply the ceramic coating to will then be trash afterwards because that ceramic coating hardens, and you don't want to reuse that rag because it could scratch whatever you use the rag on next. These are obviously, I have my torque wrench, I have my breaker bar, and then my two drills. One is an impact for wheels, and then this one will be for the wire brush adapter. For cleaning the wheels, mainly, you guys can just use a degreaser. I'm going to use some of this isopropyl alcohol and, of course, water, a lot of it. The wheels that I have on the car right now are filthy. Like, they're just absolutely dirty. It's been raining a lot here too, so yeah, they're dirty. So we're gonna have to clean the crap out of these. Anytime you guys are using ceramic coating on anything, you gotta make sure that the surface is really, really clean. That's gonna give you the best bond between the ceramic coating and whatever you're applying it to. So if you're applying it to the car, obviously you want it super, super clean so that ceramic coating can adhere as well as possible. Like I said before, we're gonna be ceramic coating the wheels, ceramic coating the brake calipers, and then also I'm gonna be ceramic coating the brake hats. And then I'm gonna make a follow-up video down the road showing you guys how it's working, kind of telling you how it's holding up. But I am really excited to make this video because all of the ceramic coating products that we've ever used, I really haven't been able to promote them for you guys because Ceramic Pro does not sell direct to consumer, and it's also really, really expensive. Ceramic Pro is like $250 for a tiny little bottle, whereas C-Quartz here, this is about 50 bucks for this bottle. So it's a much more affordable option, and I think it's just more user-friendly and consumer-friendly, and that's kind of why I wanted to start using their products and being able to put them in my videos and see how they work. Because obviously I have a lot of experience with Ceramic Pro, and it's a great product, but at the same time, I want to see if something is out there for us consumers that we can use that stacks up well next to Ceramic Pro. If you guys are unfamiliar with ceramic coating at all, just Google ceramic coating. It is really the way to go with cars and brakes. It just makes everything so much easier to keep the car clean. Nothing really sticks to the car. Yeah, it just makes your life a lot easier, especially if you're like me and I like to keep my cars as clean as possible. So my garage is not that big. I don't have that much room. I parked way over on this side. So we're just gonna start working on this side. And I'm gonna do a really in-depth tutorial on the first wheel, and then obviously that's gonna be the same process all the way around. So I'm gonna really show you guys how everything goes down on that first wheel, and then I'm gonna finish up everything else myself and then kind of show you the finished product. I'll let you guys know if I run into any issues, but let's go ahead and jump into the process. Alright, so there we have it. You can obviously see the culprit. We're going to be using that wire brush adapter on the drill. Try and just clean this up as best as possible. Use a bunch of degreaser, isopropyl on here, and really try to clean up this brake before we put anything on it. The brake isn't really too dirty. I did clean this off not too long ago, but yeah, it's going to stay really clean once we put the ceramic on. And then we'll be doing a little bit of wire brushing along here as well, just to try and keep this all as clean as possible. And then we'll put the ceramic coating on here also. So I'm curious to see how it holds up. We're just gonna do one layer, one very basic layer of ceramic coating on here, and also the wheels. So you really wanna clean out these wheels. I mean, we're gonna be going over this entire wheel as thorough as possible when it comes to the cleaning portion, as well as the barrels. So you want to clean out the barrels, and I'm going to ceramic coat the barrels as well. So it's going to be a lot of work. It'll be a lot of work to get all of these done. The curing time for the ceramic coat is like 1 to 3 hours. So if you're gonna do this, just pick a day where it's not raining. It's raining today, but I'm not gonna drive the car. I'm just gonna leave the car in here overnight, let everything cure. And then for the next couple of days, you just wanna avoid getting water on it. If you do get water on the wheels or something, just wipe it off so it doesn't stain the ceramic. But yeah, the rule of thumb is just a couple of days, like 48 hours, just let that stuff really cure, and then you will be good. So obviously before we put the stud conversion on, we wanna do the cleaning because we don't wanna fight the studs while we're cleaning everything up. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that wire brush adapter on, start cleaning away at all of this, and then I might just use the handheld wire brush for around here. We'll see how it works out. And then lastly, once we clean all of this up, we're gonna use some anti-seize, anti-rust lubricant. We're gonna lay that on here, and that way it'll prevent anything else from rusting up again. So yeah, it'll be a little bit of an overhaul, but I think in the end, it's going to be worth it. So this is where I'm at. That's where I'm gonna leave it. I've been at it for about 20-30 minutes. You could keep going harder on it, but I don't really see the point. It's as clean as I need it to be. Obviously these aren't new brakes, so if they were new brakes, it would be really easy to keep them clean, but obviously I'm taking older brakes that have a lot of wear on them, and I'm just trying to make the hats a little bit better. So we've cleaned it to the point where I think it's good enough. The ceramic will be able to adhere to it. I am still gonna clean up the caliper a little bit better, but focus on here. And the different little drill attachments that I used, a couple different kind of brushes to get in there and really clean out as much as I possibly could. It was kind of hard to clean up in these crevices, but it really doesn't worry me too much. So I'm gonna clean up the caliper a little bit better, and then the next step, we're gonna throw on the ceramic coating for the hat in the caliper. And then we can go ahead and clean up the wheel and start working on that while the hat and caliper for this wheel is curing. So we're gonna kind of apply, let cure, work on something else, apply, let cure, come back to this, and then we can go ahead and put the stud conversion kit on and throw on the actual lubricant, the anti-rust, anti-seize lubricant. And from there, I'll go ahead and work on everything else. Obviously, it's gonna be the same process all the way around, but I'm not gonna bore you guys with hours of work. So for me, it's gonna be like 3-4 hours of total work for all of this, but obviously for you guys, it's gonna be like 10 minutes. Must be nice, must be nice. All right, so we got the ceramic out here, and with most ceramics, you want to apply it, and then you actually want to wipe it off, which is just like evening out the layer of ceramic. However, this application says that you do not wipe it off. If it's on a textured trim, you don't wipe it off. I think it is smart to apply it and then wipe it off gently, because you're evening out the layer of ceramic that you lay down. So they do give you this little brush right here. We're gonna apply the ceramic onto here, and then we're gonna work the caliper first. I'm gonna go over the entire caliper. I'm gonna let that sit for about 45 seconds or so, and then I'm gonna go ahead gently with this cloth and just kind of flatten out the surfaces, make sure that nothing is uneven. It's not gonna be as big of a deal on here. When we get into the brake hat, we won't wipe any of that off. We're just gonna let it sit because that is a textured surface. So we're gonna apply it that way, but then once we get to the wheels will be a little bit different. We're gonna lay it on a little bit thicker, and then we're gonna go ahead and obviously wipe it off. So let's work on the caliper first. I'll show you guys how I do this, and then we'll move on to the brake hat. Also, you really don't need that much. Just put a couple of drips on here, a couple of drops, and then just make sure that you can see it laying on, and just be even as possible with it. Work in small areas. Obviously, when we work on the wheel, we're gonna basically just be doing like little sections by sections. So yeah, this is a long process, you guys. If you're looking to do something like this, it takes time. And that's why usually ceramic coating is so expensive. It's very time consuming. So let's go ahead and attack this, and then we'll move on to the wheel. So I just applied it on, and you're gonna feel that it's kind of tacky. That means that it's curing onto it. I think when you're actually doing a brake caliper like this, it's probably better off to use a clean rag rather than this guy, because obviously that's just a block and it's hard to kind of get into all those crevices. But I wouldn't worry too much about the back of the caliper. Obviously, you don't even see it. So you could, I mean, the real right way to do this would be to remove the whole caliper and go through that, but we're not gonna do all that. That's just, it's a little too much work for what we're trying to do. So we're just trying to keep it as clean as possible on the outside and make it look good. Make it look good. So I let this sit for probably about 45, 60 seconds. I'm gonna go ahead and take a textured cloth, this cloth that comes with it, and just gently even everything out. All right, that's good for me. Now that one is good. We're gonna move on to the actual brake hat. When we do the brake hat, we're not gonna need to wipe anything off because it's a textured surface. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually use a rag, just a very small rag corner when we do the brake hat, just because it's there's a little more texture on there. And this brick is really gonna be great for wheels, but not so much for applying on this. So both of those are coated. I'm cool with that. We're gonna let those sit for about an hour, do their curing thing. This whole side is pretty much ready to go. Obviously we have to do the the anti-seize and anti-rust lubricant, and then also the stud conversion kit. Let's go ahead and clean up this wheel and start the ceramic process on that wheel, and then I will go ahead and put in these studs while that is curing. After going to town on this thing, it's clean. Looks good. Looks really good. So we're gonna go ahead and start the ceramic process on this. I just used the dryer there to make sure there were no water spots. Then I used a nice clean rag and went over it. For the wheels, I actually found an applicator pad, and we're gonna be using this applicator pad for the ceramics. So we're gonna apply a little bit right there and just work like section by section. So I think I'll start with the valve section so I know where to start and stop, and I'm just gonna work this whole area. And then I'm gonna move around counterclockwise here, and then once we finish up the front, go ahead and turn it around and work on the barrels in the back. And then we can go ahead and finish up the stud conversion over here. So we're almost there. One wheel, man, it's been a lot of work just for one wheel. So it's gonna be this is like a full day project for me, and this car is obviously just gonna sit for the next 24 hours. It's gonna sit and let everything cure that we work on today. Really happy with how well these cleaned up. I was kind of concerned about these wheels when I first bought the car. They just had a lot of brake dust on them, and you know how it is, man. If you're someone who likes to keep your stuff clean and you buy something and then maybe it's just not in that great a condition, I just knew that I had a lot of work ahead of me to kind of bring them up to a condition where I was happy, but I am happy. They cleaned up really, really well. All right, I did it pretty fast. I mean, it's so humid out, and the ceramic is getting sticky like fast, and you don't want it to harden like that. You want to be able to even it out before you let it fully cure. So as soon as you start feeling it get sticky while you're applying it, like I was applying it and it was immediately turning sticky. So that means it is time to try and level it out as soon as possible. This is good. I only put one coat on it. I'm not gonna go crazy with these wheels. I do wanna try and save some of this coating for when I get my new wheels. And you guys, it's a lot more difficult to coat older wheels. It's very, very easy to coat new wheels because obviously they're off the car and everything. It's really nice when you can coat the wheels off the car. You're not fighting the stem, the valve stem, and obviously the tire all around. It's just a little bit easier. So this one is good. We're gonna let this sit for a little bit. Let's go ahead and start working on the stud conversion. All right, so here are the studs for this wheel, and then obviously all of the lugs. This is the thread locker blue that you're gonna be using. Stuff is nasty, it just gets all over everything, so be careful while you're using it. And then we're also gonna be using a torque wrench. You're gonna torque these down with a 5mm Allen to 25 foot-pounds of torque. We're gonna go ahead and throw some Loctite on the threads, thread them in, lock them down to 25 foot-pounds of torque, then we're good. All right, there we go. We're all studded. All right, so next step we want to do is go ahead and apply the anti-rust, anti-seize lubricant. Probably should have done that before we did the studs, but it just came in from Amazon. So let's go ahead and throw that on. Then we can go ahead and put the wheel on, and we're done with this one. We're good. All right, so here's the anti-seize lubricant that we're gonna go ahead and use in here and then all along here just to prevent any further rusting. It does have a little brush in it, so stir it up, put a little bit on there, and then wipe any of the excess off, and you should be good to go. All right, got it all on there. Looking good. You really don't need much of the anti-seize. It comes out pretty thick and pretty heavy, so just use a little bit. But this is, yeah man, it's turned out really good. Super happy with it. Let's go ahead and throw on the wheel, and then we'll be all set with this side. Hey, man, this turned out so good. Look at how clean all of this looks. So these are 78 millimeters, no spacers, stock wheels, same setup I ran on my E90 M3, and I just think they look really good. The length, it's nothing too aggressive, but it looks very clean. Obviously I went with the blacked out ones. Yeah, so this is obviously not a simple project. It's gonna take me quite a while to do the whole car. This is, I would set yourself a day aside if you're gonna do this whole thing. So that is it though. I mean, that's really the process for all of this, and you just repeat obviously the same thing for everything else. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the rest of the car, and I'll see you guys in a couple seconds. All right, about 4 hours later. You guys give yourself some time if you're gonna do this. It was tough in the beginning, but I started to get my rhythm as I got to like the third wheel, second wheel. The back brakes seemed to be a little bit more difficult than the front. They had just more intricacies and more stuff that you had to get off with the rust, but it was really the same method throughout the entire car, and you just gotta be patient. It's gonna take a day, you know what I mean? Like block out a day and just get into it. For me, it's a little bit therapeutic because I like taking the super dirty stuff and cleaning it up. But we did a good job. Let me show you guys the full car and everything that went down. So my camera's telling me it's about to die on me, but here is the front left. So all the studs are on, and these are 78 millimeters. That's why I went with those. They look nice and flush. Everything is ceramic coated, cleaned up. Put that anti-rust lubricant on. Go to the back, left, same deal. And the more time that you guys put into this, the better the results are gonna be. So just take your time with it and be super patient. And yeah, it's really not that difficult. If you guys have any basic car knowledge or detailing knowledge, you can get through it. Here's the back right. Yes, and then the front right, of course. Looking super good. It's come a long way. All right, you guys, so that is gonna conclude this one. Just remember, I am not a professional by any means. I'm just someone who has a little bit of experience with detailing, and I know a little bit about cars, and I'm just trying to help people out. So if you guys have anything to add, go ahead and drop it down below. Huge thank you to Keys for sending out the stud kit. It's perfect. Second one I have, the E90 M3 has these as well. They're just awesome. So much easier to put wheels on and swap things and work on the car. I seriously love them. Everything that you guys saw in this video is gonna be linked down below. If you guys need anything, hit me up in the comment section. I'll try to help you out. One more thing I wanna add before I wrap this one up. I only used a quarter, like not even a quarter of that full ceramic bottle. So there's plenty left, and you could theoretically do this 4 times. There's a lot in there. So they give you a lot of bang for the buck for 50 bucks, totally worth it. In terms of how long does this stuff last, it completely depends on your situation and the application. How well do you put it on? How clean are the wheels before you put it on? And what kind of conditions do you live in? Snow? Is your car garage kept? How well do you take care of it? All of those things matter. I've heard of people lasting 5 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years. It just depends on the application. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Please do subscribe, comment down below, like this video, and hit that bell notification. Just like that, this video's over, and we're out. Peace.